Iceland's tremendous success in football, as seen now with their entrance and debut into the World Cup in Russia, and the fact that Jordan Peterson is so extremely popular in the country, those two things combined are not a coincidence. And I would like to suggest to you that the possibility that those two are somewhat related. You see, here's the thing: Iceland, with a tiny population of just about 350,000, is very much not just a minor nation, but a tiny nation. And for such a country to manage to bring a team of this scope into a group sport like football or soccer, as we know it in the states, is actually very admirable because you need what 22, 23 players at least, so a full team, and out of a pool of this size, it's pretty remarkable to be able to bring something of this caliber. And the same thing goes with the fact that this country also seems to have, well, at least one of the highest per capita amount of Jordan Peterson fans, and it seems to my what I've seen from the fan base of Jordan Peterson in the country that it's this responsibility, self reliance, those kind of ideas that Icelanders seem to really respond to, and well, for various reasons. I mean, the country is geographically very difficult and has been throughout the centuries. It's really been an environment that not just kicks people's ass, but often at times seems like the nature of the country itself is just trying to eliminate human beings off of the crust of it. So yeah, so it's man versus element is very much the story of the Icelandic people, and also it's also been a country that has throughout the times and ages had some interesting eras. It has produced a tremendous amount of literature that has a unique standing in the world, so to speak. If you look at the Icelandic sagas and the writings of Norse mythology and all of these things back in the 1100s, which is a very interesting time period to be writing in this manner about things like this. So there's that, and also it's been a country that has always been, for some reason, always been on the global map. You can point to countries like Estonia or Andorra and San Marino, and a lot of small countries. And a lot of people around the globe are not really going to know anything about those countries or that they exist. But you mentioned Iceland, which is smaller than quite frankly several of these in terms of population, and it's almost as if wherever you're at in the world, somebody knows something, and especially now when they're being seen by football fans around the globe. So, yeah. So I've tried to argue this from somebody who's been, living on both sides of the ocean, grew up in various places. It's from my end. It's sort of interesting that Iceland is probably the best branded and marketed country in the world per capita as well, and it's a truly strong brand. It's had this unique stance of being peaceful, no standing military force, since we had to go through a civil war and figured, well, maybe butchering each other is not too smart when there aren't that many of us. So, but yeah, so no standing force. And peaceful relations, trying to sort of get along with everybody and navigate and mediate that. And it's not for no reason that Iceland was the chosen venue for the summit between Gorbachev and Ronald Reagan back in the 80s to end the Cold War. Well, the Cold War that now seems to be resurfacing, but what are you gonna do, right? But yeah, so it's had that, and it's brought the world a whole bunch of artists. So you have Björk and Björk, as we say in Icelandic, and of Monsters and Men, and what's their name? Sigurdos, yeah, and all these bands, and now also athletes, and it's not just starting with football. I mean, also within football, it's had a women's team that has been very up there for a lot longer than the men's team, and they've been playing major tournaments. It's had a handball team that has been to um, several European and world championships, and also to the Olympics, with the silver medal of 2008 being somewhat the most remarkable success story there. Um, and yeah, so it's got a lot of athletes also on the individual athlete level. A lot of gymnasts. Well, I think some gymnasts at least, and we've had some runners and swimmers and martial artists. So we have Gunnar Nelson in MMA. We have now two professional boxers. We have a lot of victories in strongman competitions and in CrossFit and all this. So this is a lot for a very tiny country, and uh, sports are a big part of just modern life, or common life in Iceland, if you will. Talk to people, and most of them, especially now with a reawakening that modern life may not, just this common, quiet, indoorsy life may not be ideal for Icelandic genetics, because we're used to, this challenge genetically. So I think there's an understanding of that it's, um, these bodies were made to move and made to deal with some struggles. It's good. That's something that I think that people to a larger degree all over the world should understand, because yeah, your body is not just this; it's also all of this, and it's really good to really put all of it to work. That is my humble opinion. Feel free to disagree. But yeah, so there are all of these things. Now, another thing I notice with the mentality of Icelanders, there are some downfalls that I think that Icelanders really don't need. First and foremost, there seems to be this recurring theme of Icelanders to some degree thinking less of themselves, especially like, because they're so aware of being a small country. So it's like, who do you think you are? You're just another damn Icelander. People will sometimes say this to themselves, to each other. I mean, when they see someone who's really striving for greatness, or trying to actually accomplish something and go somewhere, and that's detrimental. I hope that will to some degree fade, because this country really is an extraordinary talent pool, as are many others, but a talent pool in its very own specific way. And I really hope that every Icelander just knows that it doesn't matter where you're born. No, if you're worthy, you're worthy, and just allow yourself to know that you've earned something and walk across that threshold and claim it. That would be a note that I would give for anyone in what they do, their lives. If you've come to a place where victory is right in front of you, just allow yourself to understand and accept that you've earned it, and it's okay to cross the threshold and accept it. Accept it as an earned victory in any realm in life. That is definitely the Norse way of thinking. Yeah, here we go. So there is that, and yeah, absolutely. This country, it's turning heads. It is worthy on the global stage, and even I was recently down in Malta. They exceed our population by 100,000, so we're roughly around 350,000 up here. They're about 450,000 down there. Tiny archipelago, so yeah, so they have a very high population density as well. But really interesting country, lovely vibe, really really great hospitality and everything. So it's truly a great experience to get to spend time with them down there and study the country a bit and getting to know the people. But yeah, at any rate, they just seem to be asking themselves sometimes, like, okay, so if Iceland could do this, then why can't we? Why can't Malta get to the World Cup? And there are a lot of things that they could learn from Iceland as well, which I hope to be a part of bridging the gap that shares that in the time to come, along with my partners and new colleagues and acquaintances down in Malta. So, at any rate, yeah, this country is full of people who think big, because maybe because they are from a small country. It's very easy to be big or prominent or known in Iceland, and if you get there, then what's to stop you from venturing on. It's also when your country is small and seemingly monotonic at times, then often you want to venture out. You want to take on the world and see the world and be a part of that, because the tiny place wherein you're at doesn't suffice, especially if you're a person of big ambitions. So I think there's an element to that as well. So yeah, absolutely. I do think these go hand in hand. The fact that Jordan Peterson's message is echoing here, and it falls in line with a lot of values that Icelanders have and share, especially as far as responsibility, sorry, individuality, and resourcefulness. Just this constant need to not just survive, but you know just elevate yourself and others, and just grow, rise to prominence, if you will. So that's it's a certain kind of perseverance. This tiny little nation. That's interesting. Are there quarrels and pickles? Yes. Are there issues? Yes, absolutely. But it's still remarkable to see what this tiny group of people have accomplished, and what they're capable of. So, and like I said, this is just Icelanders have their own ways and types of this. Other countries have a lot of things, truly remarkable things of their own going for themselves. So yeah, I'm just hoping the entire world just grabs this ball and runs with it. Just really owns up to, I as an individual am gonna shoulder the responsibility of my life, the good, the bad, and the ugly, everything that happens, and just take the lessons and do the walk and that steep uphill climb onto a mountain, and just you know do something that matters. But yeah, I definitely think that that is something that echoes in Iceland, in Peterson's message, and in the athletic successes and other successes of Icelanders. And yeah, I'm just really hoping that this country can inspire something good in other countries around the globe. Anyways, that's enough for this rant. Biking out. Maybe better to do that from here. Biking out.